Yeah, you were a rough 24.
It was rough.
All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to nominate a new president and vice president of the board.
I nominate Matt Jones for president.
It's been moved and seconded for Matt Jones to be president. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 1, 2, 3. All right, now I need a vote for vice president.
Move for Jill George.
It's been moved and seconded that Jill George remain vice president. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so it was Ryan and Curtis on Jill. Who was it on? It was Jill and
Curtis.
Jill and Curtis. All right. All right, now I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Jill and Curtis. Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, now I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Ryan Ruda and Curtis. Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Killed a lot of trees for that right there. Let's move to recognitions.
Yeah, I'd like to just take the opportunity. We really have good people. We really do, who work for us. And, people across the board do all sorts of things. But sometimes I need to just shout out a few people for what I consider to be Herculean efforts. This time around, it's for Mike Davis and Garrett Kathman. Both these individuals worked over 4th of July. I don't think you're here on the 4th itself, I hope. I hope you weren't. But Garrett has a shovel in his hand over there working with the well. Mike's in here doing budget stuff. We have the rollout. That's a big deal unto itself. And couple with that with the change over to Skyward, which we're finally finished with. I just absolutely just want to go out there and say I really appreciate the extra work, because they could have easily said, hey, it's 4th of July. I don't need to be doing this. But they didn't. So kudos. Appreciate having you guys around.
I stopped and talked with him, and I had to talk Mike out of my shovel. He was going to take my shovel and start digging in his seat. Thanks, guys. All right, let's move to Mike and financials.
Okay. On page 1 of the warrants, put my glasses on here. Categorical aid, down towards the middle, $122,844. And then on page 2 at the top, Holcomb Recreation tax money flow through $229,166. And then down at the bottom there, the hydro resources for the well at Wiley, $50,000. We paid that. So the warrants for this, well, to end out last year's budget, $621,047.33. And then on page 4 are the warrants for this month. And you'll see down towards the bottom, $366,251 is for the property insurance that you guys approved doing last month. And then, then up at towards the top, $55,583 is for the work comp insurance, First Dakota Indemnity. So for this month, $425,523.07. And then page 5 is the revenue expense summary. You notice we used all the money out of the general fund, and then the supplemental general fund is just a little bit of extra cash we get from the county to make sure that we have enough cash to cover for all of our expenses there. And then you will notice on federal grants, Title III money, we have $73,000 in the hole, but that's okay because it's federal money, and we'll be able to get that next month from them. And then page 6 is the beginning budget for this new year. And most of that's just the payments for the insurance. And then page 7, fund expense summary, we spent down all of the money out of the general fund and supplemental general fund, which is what you want to do. And then also all of the federal funds, except for the ESSER money, which we're going to finish up in September. We have $35,705 left to spend of ESSER money. And then page 8 is just expense summary for the new year. And then we have our transfers and then the high school, middle school reports. So if you have any questions.
Okay.
Well,
You too?
one for the finish of the last fiscal year and one for new one.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to need 2 motions if there's no one has any questions for Mike. First, I need a motion to approve closing the books in the amount of $621,047.33.
So moved.
Jill,
Second.
Ryan Ruda. Moved and seconded to close out the books. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, now I need a motion to approve this month at $425,523.07.
So moved.
Second.
Ryan, Ruda, and Jill. It's been moved and seconded to pay financials. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, no public patron concerns. Superintendent report.
All right, you got a couple, 3 or 4 or 5 things to talk to you about. Just to let you know, we are on the joint welding project with Garden City Community College. We are getting down the road on working up the MOU with Garden City Community College. Basically, we're working out the details of what we take care of, what Garden City takes care of, and I think we've got a good start. We've had one draft with back and forth a little bit. Once again, there's no real time rush on this, because we're not going to be able to start it in August anyway. But as we move down the path, we'll keep you apprised to it. Our 363's buy-in on this is $120,000 plus the space. That's pure capital outlay we'll be using. But once again, the time is yet to be determined on when it gets launched, but I anticipate next month to bring you a memorandum of understanding for us to formally enter into this situation. So, anything you want to add to that, Ron?
Nope, I think that's good.
All right, capital projects. Talk with you a little bit and give you an opportunity to ask questions as well. The well, concession stand, parking lot, playground, and then the chiller. I'll say what on the concession stand is great. Garrett and I went down there today, and 15 workers getting after it. I mean, so I think with the work on the inside, it's going to accelerate. We're still messing around with those cracks, and we've homed in on using an epoxy flake color cover to put on it. So it'll just basically cover up the cracks themselves. We could just polish it up, but why just expose those cracks? The parking lot is all prepped. The playground over here is all but prepped. Then we got a big old rain. And so now we have to wait for things to dry out. Because the vision is we're going to put a barrier down, weed barrier, and then bring in at the playground, crush limestone, and then get it all. I'm not playground, sorry. The parking lot. Garrett's giving me a look of.
We're going back to the 80s, baby.
The good old days. And then get it all painted up and have the parking lot ready to roll before school starts. As long as the river don't rise and the dam don't break. And the playground, of course, we're bringing back mulch. We'll level it up, and that should be good to go as well. Chiller, Garrett, if you give the update on the chiller, please.
They got their lift in. They are coming in. They came in today, looked at it. They're going to be back tomorrow, and should have it done by the end of the week for us. So
And we're taking bets on that?
I'm not putting any money on it.
No, take the over. You'll win on that.
You're going to drop them off at the train station.
There we go.
And the well.
The well is right about. I need 2 more fittings. I didn't have a 3-inch male adapter. I thought I had one sitting in there, and put that in, and I'll have that running by noon tomorrow.
Noon tomorrow. And in the meantime, we ordered up rain, and things look nice and green. So you didn't know the power of 363, did you? Thank you. Just to let you know, henceforth and evermore, beginning in August, We're standardizing the payday. We're moving it to the 15th. Instead of, right now, it chases the board meeting, so it'll just be easier for people to plan for. We've been talking about it for a while. And then it came up multiple times this year through Soup with the Soup. Talked to Mike about it. Is it any big deal to make this happen? He said, no, we can make it happen. So we're going to make it happen. Didn't want to do it in July because of the changeover of Skyward and whatnot. Didn't want anything to mess up with people's payrolls. But starting August 15th, September 15th, and October 15th, moving forward, it'll just have a standardized pay date. And employees have been happy to hear about that. The whole non-resident student situation, remember the whole thing about we had to set had to set capacities, and then we had no idea if we're going to get just a ton of people coming in or very, very few coming in, right? In the end, we had a grand total of 24 applicants. One got denied due to attendance. There are no issues whatsoever on popping the top on any individual areas. The lead vote getters were pre-K 5 kids, kindergarten, 4 kids, 7th grade, 4 kids, and then some singletons. Why those particular ones? I don't know. Can't speak to it. None in the high school. It will be interesting to see because, of course, all the talk of potential attendance centers being closed to the east, if that might bring things around a year from now. But now that we know what we're doing, and once again, kudos to Robin and Keisha in particular, and the secretaries on getting this, because this is a lot of detail for doing something for the first time and just not knowing how it was going to play. And we're in the process of sending out the acceptance letters to everybody. Officially, to meet the law, we have to let people know by July 15 if they're not in, and we let the one person in, one family know already. And so that's a done deal. Final thing to talk to you about is, and I don't want you all to shed too big of a tear today, but you won't be getting a letter from me this Friday or next Friday, because, don't look at me like that, because after the meeting tonight, Annette and I are getting in the car, driving to Kansas City, and then we're hopping in the plane to go see our son in the Netherlands. So I'll be out of the country for, till the 19th, fly back in. Then I'll be here back in the closed confines of Holcomb on the 22nd. Of course, if you need me, call my personal cell phone. I'm not going to put it out on the air because I don't think I need people from around the whomever's listening to this to call me. But I do have the international plans. Quit it. So I do have the international plan. So if you need something, reach out to me. If you can't get to me, Robin definitely can. So, there you go.
Thank you. We will move to buildings and grounds. Any questions for Garrett? Okay. Move to transportation. Sam.
Nothing further.
Food service. Monica's.
She told her she needed to be here. She's off duty. I do want to mention, though, look at the sheer volume of meals that got served in June. That's great. I mean, the ones for breakfast, you can say, well, yeah, the kids are up there lifting weights. Okay. Ones for lunch, the kids walked to we had it at Wiley, chose to walk down here and eat. 2,700 kids obviously needed food. So good on Monica and her ladies for making that happen.
Yep. Technology, Julie. Let's move to unfinished business and vision and dental insurance renewals.
Okay, normally on a given normal year, we would do health, vision, and dental all in one fell swoop. But the way things were accelerated with the health insurance, we did that last month. And now this month is the month to take action on providing the optional plan toward the vision and Mutual of Omaha dental. VSP is who both these companies we were with them last year. The rates for VSP are staying the same. No adjustment whatsoever. Mutual of Omaha Dental is slightly up by $5. So these are good plans. I carry them both, and I recommend the board approve VSP for the vision insurance and Mutual of Omaha for the dental insurance for the 24-25 school year, and is absolutely optional. Nobody has to take it. They can choose to take it. It's 4-tier. It's just up to them.
Casey and Curtis. Moved and seconded to approve both VSP for vision insurance and Mutual of Omaha for dental insurance for 24-25. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Student Information System Program.
Okay, if you remember a year ago, well, over a year and a half ago maybe, we learned that MAP, which is our business side of the district software program, was dying, meaning they're unplugging it. They're saying we're not going to support it any longer. You need to find something that works. That's what started this game. And so we started looking around, and after machinations, or studies rather, and looking into it all, we settled on Skyward. Okay, so that's where we're launching as we speak, Skyward on the business side. So then, fast forward, it just makes sense to get both the business side and the student information side under one roof because it's more streamlined. We'll start getting breaks on prices. And so started looking around. And also, since I'm not very pleased with the service that we've received with PowerSchool through the years, did research with it and bringing forward to you a recommendation to move to Skyward over the next year for the SIS, Student Information System, to kick into gear this time next year. There's a one-time cost of $57,000 and change. Then the yearly cost is right at $13,000. So the one-time upfront cost, Matt, is $70,103. But you say, whoa, hold on, Scott. Our yearly fee for PowerSchool as we speak is $20,000. When we get to Skyward, ultimately, it's $13,000. So it's a savings of over $7,000 per year. So the return on investment on the initial $57,000 is 8 years. So starting the 9th year, we are making money by making this move. So, Mr. Jones, I recommend the board approve purchasing Skyward to serve as our student information system.
So moved.
Second.
Ryan, Ruda, and Jill. It's been moved and seconded to recommend the board approve purchasing Skyward as our student information system. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, substitute pay.
This is the time of year where we set the substitute pay for the district. I haven't read a study recently, but the sheer amount of time our students spend with subs is more than one might think. Life happens, and so teachers miss school. And so we want to have the best and the brightest we can possibly find. We've got a good crew of subs, but we are also in a war, if you will, with Deerfield, Garden City, Lake, and Scott City, because people drive. They're willing to follow the money. So what you have before you is a chart which shows the 23-24 rates, and you'll see where some areas were above, some areas were below. But to keep competitive and to push the envelope just a little bit, I'm recommending that we increase the pay for all the different subs by $10 per day. This would increase reflected in the handbooks. To set the emergency rate at 160, it has been 150. Certified rate at 170 has been 160, and the long-term rate at 175. Long-term rate has been 165. So I recommend those adjustments as proposed.
So moved.
Second.
Jill and Ryan Ruda. Moved and seconded to increase the all layers of substitute pay by $10 per day. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. New business, pole vault pit equipment purchase.
About early track season, Chad came to me and said our pole vault area is in dire straits. They've been able to hold it together over the years, but it's getting to the point where it may be either we drop pole vault or we're putting the kids in harm's way. I said, okay, I knew this would go over the bid law amount, so go do a bid process for us. He did. He put out a bid request for whomever wanted to submit bids. BSN, who is a group that we do a lot of company with, of course, submitted a bid for $27,813.96. And then we had one other group out of Rhode Island, of all places, submitted a bid for $23,000. So yeah, that's a lesser amount. What the law says, though, about bids is it's the best bid, and we get to define best. It doesn't mean the lowest bid. So, pushed on with Chad, I said, okay, tell me why we would go with this one and not that one. It has nothing to do with the fact it's from Rhode Island. It has to do with the quality of the product. And so the actual stuff from BSN, that's just the specs are better across the board. It's thicker, it's bigger, it's going to last longer. So the recommendation from Chad to me and then me to you is I recommend the board make the purchase of the pole vault fit pit and equipment as presented. This is a capital outlay purchase.
So moved.
Second.
Ryan, Ruda, and Jill. It's been moved and seconded to purchase the pole vault pit and equipment as presented. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Resolution to exceed.
Okay. The revenue neutral rate came into play a year ago. And this is the thing where the legislature came out and said, all right, to me, in my mind's eye, it's superfluous, but we need to let the taxpayers know what would be the revenue rate, which would be neutral from the year previous, okay? And so what we receive is information from the county clerk on what that amount is, what that mill rate is, okay? In order to exceed that, if for whatever reason the board feels we need to, and anytime the assessed valuation is going up, it's no brainer. You're going to exceed it, just because if you keep the same mills, you're making more money, because even though it's tied to mills, it's really all about the revenue that comes in, okay? Well, this particular year, I don't know if I think it's an anomaly, but our assessed valuation has gone down by $10 million, okay? Which is really interesting to me, given property values have gone up. So, Mike and I are working on this. Finally, we picked up the phone and called Dale Dennis. I said, okay, Dale, this is what we have. Last year's mill's at this rate. The RNR is at this rate. What do you suggest? His suggestion, you're not taking action on this tonight. This is just a night to educate and for you to ask questions. His recommendation was need to go ahead and pass the resolution with the intent to exceed the RNR in September, not till then. Okay. The virtue in doing that is twofold. If we don't do that and we go forward with a lower mill rate and the assessed valuation drops a little bit more, because they don't set the final one until November, then we'll realize fewer dollars as it is. The second one is this gives us a month and a half to work this, to figure out where do we really want to come in on this puppy. Because an aspect of this that I had just not considered till Mike and I were talking this morning is we receive state aid, on the LOB. So ostensibly, well, not ostensibly, it is what it is. The computed revenue rate is 52.838. That's what the county clerk said to us. Dale's recommendation is to go to 53.8. Now, I don't want to go any higher than we have to at all. But the point that Mike and I, as we hashed it out today, is with state aid, the net effect is actually lower than that by about 2 mils. So we have more time to work this out as we get down the path a little bit. Basically, there's no action needed. It's just if we don't go this path, then we accelerate, and we've got to do the budget stuff a month earlier, which is no big deal. We've done that in the past. And if we do go forward this way, because Mike has to do the math and submit it to the clerk of, we're intending to exceed the RNR at this amount, okay, but you're not locked in. The word intent is key here. It does not mean you have to. So we can come down the path and get to September, because we have the RNR hearing with the resolution. At that point, by that time, we'll have done the math, and I'll know the mind of the board by that time, and just say we're not doing that. We're not passing the resolution. Or, all right, let's keep going. We're going to pass the resolution. But we've got 2 months to get that all figured out. So we really know the impact to the taxpayers as far as that goes. If you recall, 1 mil on a $100,000 home, and I realize there aren't very many $100,000 homes, so just do the math. If your house is $200,000, double what I'm saying to you. 1 mil is worth $11.50 per year on a $100,000 home. So this last year, if a person had a $100,000 house, at current mill rate, it was $554 a year was what the house taxes were for us. I realize we're one taxing entity. If we were to go up to what Dale Dennis had recommended, it would raise the yearly from $554 to $619. So it's an increase of $64.51 for a year on a $100,000 home, or $5.37 per month. I don't want to downplay that an increase is an increase. I don't want to, because I realize there are other taxing entities as well. But it's not as egregious as one might say. You're going up how many mills? But once again, since Mike and I were talking about today, we don't really know the pinpointed impact that the state aid will give us, because that's math yet to be done. What I'm interested in doing is keeping the taxes as low as possible, but keeping our revenue as high as possible, because we need the cash. We had a very healthy rollout, and we put the money where we needed it so we can use it in lots of good ways, which then allows us some freedoms to adjust the mills later on. But in my opinion, Mike, I don't speak for you, Mike, but we were in concert earlier today, that we need to keep the LOB where it is. And there's only a few places where we can adjust the millage. LOB, bond and interest, we have to make sure we can pay the bill, and capital outlay. We put a bunch of money into capital outlay, which does allow us to lower that if need be. And right now, as we speak, we don't have any major projects we're looking to take on next year. there's always something to do. You know, we're going to spend the money. But outside of the welding project, that's the front-loaded project for me as far as for the next year. I think we've got to wait. We've got to sit for something like the track. You know, that's $1 million price tag versus 120. So that's the R&R, Mr. Jones. What questions may I answer?
But for the county, all you're having to declare is that you're going to exceed. You don't have to give
We do have to give it.
you have to give them the numbers.
We have to give them a number. And what we'll give them, we'll do math, but we'll give them a number that's slightly above. I don't anticipate doing what Dale wanted us to do, an entire mill above. The R&R, as she gave us, was 52.838. If we could be magically perfect, I'd say 52.839, just because that's above. And then, like I said, it gives us that extra month, and it's time to figure every little piece of this. I just never anticipated a $10 million drop. And we're not the only ones doing this, by the way. So, and thank goodness we had a healthy business year, which can mitigate the ravages of this. So, yeah, once we give it to them, but we're not locked into it.
Right.
We can always say, nope, we're not going there.
Any more questions? All right, let's move to setting a date for the R&R hearing.
In order to make this happen, there has to be a hearing, public hearing. It usually takes place right in front of the September board meeting. So I'm recommending that you set the R&R hearing date for Monday, September 9, 2024, at 7 o'clock in the board office. And once again, I will reiterate the point, just because you set this doesn't mean it's going to happen. I mean, the hearing will happen, but the positive action to make it a reality may not happen.
Yeah, I move that we set the date for the R&R hearing for Monday, September 9th, 2024 at 7 p.m. here in the boardroom.
Second.
Jill and Curtis, been moved and seconded to set the R&R hearing for Monday, September 9th, 2024 at 7 p.m. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Setting the date for our budget hearing.
It's just a normal procedure for the world of schools. It used to be always in August. Now it's in September due to the R&R. And so what's recommended by the KSDE is to do it directly following the R&R hearing. So that would be at 7:05 on September 9th. By the time that rolls around, we will have produced, Mike's already put together a beginning one, the Code 99, which is what's put in the paper. It shows the breakdown of the taxes themselves. We have to take into account a variety of different, from the building needs assessment that the principals do. We have to take into account the defined barriers of getting 100% of our kids to levels 3 and 4 on the state assessments, proposed budget adjustments to help us do that, and then the anticipated amount of time it would take to get all students to levels 3 or 4. The reality of that is infinity plus 1. It's nonsense to think you can get 100% to that level. But we got to play the games with them. They're built. So I recommend the board set the budget hearing date for Monday, September 9, 2024 at 7:05 p.m. in the board office. Maybe you ought to make that, Matt, instead, directly following the R&R hearing, in case that goes a little longer.
7:05?
Instead of 7:05, let's just say directly following.
Okay.
Robin, if you could reflect that. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to set the hearing date for right after the R&R meeting.
Okay.
Second.
Casey and Curtis. Been moved and seconded to set the budget hearing for at September 9th, Monday, September 9th, 2024, directly following the R&R hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, board member committees.
It's normal. It's nothing in the law says you have to do this, but I think it's a great idea because it's a representative form of government, and I think it's wise to have board involvement at a variety of areas of the district as we move down the path to provide the best educational opportunities and for our clientele and for the greater educational community. So we have a variety of committee assignments, and you see the names from this year, people who were to serve, and whether they're able to make it every time or not, that's immaterial. But we're looking to create the assignments for the 24-25 year. In years past, people have said, I'd like to be on that one. Or we've just taken a slate and say, we'll just carry it over to next year. I don't have a recommendation besides the fact I'd like the board to approve board member committee assignments.
Any opposition and just rolling 23, 24 into 24, 25?
I think since Sean's not here, we should put him on every committee, but that'd be fine with me.
How about Ryan? He's not here either.
Yeah, I know. He just texted
That's
me.
fine, too.
I just remembered I had a board meeting. I'm fine with rolling them.
Sure you don't want to be on negotiations, Ms.
I do not. Thank you.
I move that we just leave the board committee
You're not on the game.
assignments the same as 23-24 for the 24-25 year.
Second.
Jill and Curtis moved and seconded to roll the board committees from 23-24 to 24-25. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Athletic trainer services.
What I appreciate about that last motion is you guys didn't know that your bonus that you get will be doubled by however many committees you take. So it was good that you did.
Oh, I have the ultimate committee.
Yes, you do. We provide athletic training services to our students and, well, not just student athletes, our students as well. We've been working with Wes for multiple years. He does a fine job. So it's the time of the year to re-up that. I recommend the board accept the proposal from Wickward PTLCC to provide athletic training services to our students in the amount of $3,000, and that's for the entire school year, for 24-25 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Ryan and Jill. It's been moved and seconded to accept the proposal from Wickwar PT LCC for $3,000. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. KASB policy recommendations.
Twice a year, the KSB looks through the laws as they come down from the state and from the feds and the various regulations that come through the titles. And then they provide opportunities or they provide suggestions on updating board policies. It takes 2 reads of these policies to make it a reality. So tonight is all about the first read, and I'll talk a little bit about each one, well, not all of them, but the ones that are a little bit more, I don't know, demonstrative than the others. And then next month is when they would be approved. The bulk of the stuff that comes through this year has to come with Title IX compliance. And this is specifically about to avoid sex discrimination when students or staff members are pregnant and or need to nurse. That's basically, there's like 4 different policies that deal with that. Just make sure that we treat people with respect and provide them the opportunity to do so. We would anyway, even if we didn't have guidance from the title world, but it needs to be, if we want to maintain our federal funds, we have to say yes to that. There's a law went into play saying all districts have to have a cardiac emergency response plan in place, and so the wording puts us in compliance with that. We have one, but this makes sure it's codified that we're good to go. This is a good thing. Anytime we can see this, it eliminates the non-congregate meals that came to be during the feeding of the people during the remote era of COVID. Anytime we say, oh, COVID's gone, I'm all for it. So this does away with the language which was tied to that. So back in the days when we had the buses and we'd set up the food, drops, that's what that had to deal with. Added criteria for when someone wants to make a review request of curriculum materials from the library. I think this is a positive because it defines you can't do the same book more than once in a year. It defines individual people can't just bring forward 85 of these things. I mean, it puts some parameters up. Yet the freedom still exists for people to say, hey, hold on, we'd like you to look into that. And so, okay. Then the only last one I'd like to mention to you is that the protections are being put into place basically for virtual students who are wanting to participate in activities in their district of residence. So let's say we have a student who lives in Holcomb who is attending the virtual school, let's say KCA, Elkhart's virtual school. The way the law now reads is he or she can play sports in our district because they sleep here. That kid sleeps here. So this sets up parameters to say, okay, that's fine, but here's what you got to do. And so That's the recommendation on that one. Also, it does say also that we can't just charge them extra money because they're not coming to our school, so it protects them as well. But it does put up good fences make good neighbors, and that's what that particular policy does.
Any activity,
Any, not just sports, yeah, any school activity. It could be FFA, it could be band, it could be, whatever. My thing is, if a person's chosen not to attend our school, go with God. Why would you want to do this stuff with us then as well? But, people do as they do.
Different strokes for different folks.
That's it.
All right. Well, it's on to personnel.
I have 15 minutes for me, Mr. Jones.
All right.
we need a motion for that first reading, though.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
We do?
I'll make a
Oh,
motion
yeah.
that we
Okay,
went
let's
to
do
first
that.
reading.
Why
Second.
don't we? So it was Casey and Jill. Been moved and seconded to accept the first reading of the proposed policy adjustments. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I apologize.
We should put Casey on the reading of the
Yes.
agenda board committee.
She's the backup agenda person. All right, so let's go into executive session for 15 minutes, starting at 7:40.
So moved.
Second.
Ryan and Curtis. Moved and seconded to go into executive session for 15 minutes, starting at 7:40. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?